everybody, and welcome back to yoga. Today we are going to get started on our back. We're going to have a really gentle floor-based practice today. So whenever you're ready, we are going to come onto our backs. I have some blocks nearby in case I want to use them during my flow, so figure out what feels good for you today. So we're coming onto our backs. Your knees could be bent, or they could be long down your back or your mat. And maybe you place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart space. And just begin to allow your body to melt into the mat. Breathing in through the nose. And exhaling through the lips. As you inhale, your belly rises. And as you exhale, the belly softens. Allowing these inhales and these exhales to bring you into the present moment. Making time to come onto your yoga mat is always a challenge, but once you're here, it's so special. There's nowhere else to be. Nothing to worry about. Nothing else to do. Maybe you rock the head from side to side. And then wiggling the toes and the fingers and making circles with the wrists and the ankles. And then bringing the arms overhead and coming into a beautiful full body stretch like it's the first time you're waking up. Maybe you're doing this video in the morning or midday or in the night, whatever. And then let's hug the knees into our chest, giving ourselves a huge hug. Again, thanking ourselves for making time to come onto our mat today. Maybe you make some circles with the lower back. And then reversing those circles. Just noticing how the spine feels today. How the mind feels today. Was it a struggle to get here? Or was it a good day and you were eager to get here? And just noticing either and being okay with that. And opening the arms out like a T or maybe cactus arms and dropping both knees over towards the right. And maybe you look over towards the left. And maybe bring that right hand onto that left knee, just deepening that stretch just a little bit more. And just noticing how you feel today in this very first twist of this flow. And then inhale, bring those knees back to center and drop them both over towards the left. And maybe you look towards the right. Maybe you bring that left hand onto that right knee, gently deepening that twist. And just noticing the difference from side to side here. And then inhaling, bringing those knees back to center. And we're going to bring the hands under the knees. And we're going to roll up maybe a couple of times the length of the mat. Massaging out that spine. And then come to a comfortable seat at the top of your mat. I'm going to face you guys. And you can use a block to sit on top of if you want. Sometimes it feels good to have the hips higher than the knees. And that's kind of how I'm feeling today. So coming here onto your comfortable seat, Let's inhale, bring the arms high towards the ceiling, the gaze can follow. And then exhale, bring the hands to your heart space, and maybe you tilt the chin in towards your chest. And the eyes can be closed or soft gaze, whatever feels comfortable and safe for you today. And come back to those inhales through the nose, and those exhales through the mouth or the nose. Whatever feels natural for you. And I invite you to set an intention for your practice today. Maybe you want to allow more love into your life, more forgiveness, more compassion. Or maybe you want to share more positivity and happiness with those around you. Or maybe you just want to repeat a nice mantra such as, I am peace. Whatever it is, just inhale that intention, that mantra in through the nose. And sigh it out through the lips. Beautiful. Opening the eyes if they're closed. And bringing the hands beside you on your mat. And we're going to inhale, lift that right arm towards the ceiling. And maybe you look up towards the hand. And maybe you lengthen over towards the left. So as I mentioned in my very first video, I am 18 weeks pregnant. So throughout my flows, I just listen to my body. So this feels good for me. And every body is different. Inhale here. And then exhale, bring that right hand onto the mat. Inhale, that left arm comes towards the ceiling. Maybe you look up to your hand and lengthen over towards the right. And I am not a medical professional, so these videos are just based off of me being a yoga instructor and a very first time pregnant mother. So I am just listening to my body, and I hope you'll do the same and be gentle with yourself, whether you're pregnant or not. And then exhale, hands to the mat. Beautiful. Let's drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. And then bringing the chin towards the chest and the left ear towards the left shoulder. Bringing the chin back towards the chest, right ear to right shoulder. Creating this gentle half circle with the neck. And if it feels okay for your neck today, maybe you begin to create full circles. Only if it feels good. Listening to your body and being so gentle. Keeping those inhales and those exhales going. And reversing those circles if that's what you're doing. Stopping anywhere that feels a little sticky, that might need some extra love. And then coming back to center whenever you're ready, and take your time. We're going to open the arms out like a T and give yourself a big hug. Maybe the right arm under the left and bring the hands to the shoulders. Feels so nice. Maybe you smile. And then we're going to inhale, lift the heart space and lift the elbows towards the ceiling. Kind of coming into a cow. And then exhale, bring the elbows towards the body and the chin towards the chest. Coming into kind of a cat. Inhale, lift up in your cow. Exhale through your cat. One more time. Inhale through your cow variation. Exhale through your cat. Lovely. And release this. Bring that left hand onto that right knee. And then bring that right hand behind you. So we're coming into a gentle seated twist. And maybe look over that right shoulder. And maybe you stay here, or maybe you keep the shape, but bring the gaze back to center and drop that left ear towards that left shoulder. I know for me, that just feels a little bit different. It feels good, but every body's different. Just try it out and explore. Inhaling here, and then exhale, release, come back to center. And then opening up those arms like a T. And this time bringing that opposite hand under. For me, it's the left. And give myself a hug. Some self-love here, smile. And then inhale, elbows towards the ceiling. Exhale, chin towards the chest. Inhale, lift up into your cow variation. Exhale to your cat. One more time, inhale here. And exhale, chin towards the chest. Beautiful, release that, bring that right hand onto that left knee. And bring that left hand behind you, and maybe look over that left shoulder. Noticing the difference from side to side. And again, maybe you stay here, or maybe you explore that stretch with the neck, looking forward and dropping that right ear towards the right shoulder. Just seeing how that feels. And if it doesn't feel good, give yourself the ability to just come out of it. Allow yourself to be gentle. That's one of the hardest things. One more inhale, and then exhale, release that. And we're gonna come into our tabletop. So coming onto our hands and our knees, removing that block if we were using it. So the hands in your tabletop are under the shoulders, and the knees are under your hips. So the back is super neutral. You could place a glass right here and it shouldn't fall. And our gaze is down towards the mat. The fingers are wide. Beautiful. And from here, we're going to drop the belly and lift the gaze, coming into that cow. So noticing how the spine created the shape in our seated cat-cows. Exhale, bring the chin towards the chest, spine towards the ceiling, coming into our cat. And then flow here through your inhales and your exhales, stopping anywhere that needs a little extra love, that feels a little sticky. Just following your inhales. And following your exhales. And then finding your tabletop, your neutral tabletop, whenever you're ready. And take your time. And breathe. Beautiful. So from here, we're going to come on to our forearms. And we're going to keep the booty up. So we could stay here. Or maybe we sink those hips back and bring the forehead or chin onto the mat, coming into our puppy pose. So whatever feels good for you, just explore again. Maybe you walk the fingertips a little bit more forward, feeling that stretch alongside the arms and the shoulders. But just breathe here. Maybe you use that block under your forehead or a pillow or a blanket. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose and the lips. Awesome. And when you're ready, slowly come back up to your tabletop, removing that block. And we're gonna curl the right toes under as we extend that right leg. And we're just gonna stretch here, rock and roll the length of the mat, feeling that nice stretch on our right calf and through our toes. And maybe we lift that right foot and cross it over the left, so it's on the outside of the left mat. And maybe you look over that left shoulder. For me, that feels really good. And breathe here. And then exhale, release, coming back to your neutral tabletop. Recentering your tabletop. And then curling those left toes under, extending that leg. And again, just making some movement here, stretching. Feels oh so good. And then maybe you cross that left foot over the right. Maybe you look over that right shoulder. I don't know why, but every day if I do this, it just feels good every single day. And then exhale, come back to center. And we're gonna curl the toes under and lift the hips and come into a downward dog. A nice gentle downward dog. So if that means your knees are bent, that's beautiful, that's perfect. Or your knees are straight and your legs are straight. Whatever feels good. And just walk out your dog here, letting that head hang heavy. So we don't want to be scrunching up that neck. We want the spine to be long and neutral. And we're breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose or the mouth. For me, breathing out through the mouth just feels so good, and it just feels like you're releasing what no longer serves you. So try it with me. Inhale through the nose, inside out through the mouth. Awesome. And then finding stillness and looking towards your hands, and step that right foot forward in between your hands. We're going to drop that back knee, the left knee. And you can keep the toes curled under or uncurl them. And from here, we're going to inhale, lift the hands towards the ceiling. Maybe the gaze follows. And then exhale, hands come down to the mat. Awesome. And again, maybe you grab your blocks, or maybe you don't. Maybe you have books or pillows or blankets at home. And from here, we're going to straighten out that front leg and sink back here. Maybe those right toes come towards the ceiling. I know this leg for me is really tight, much tighter than the other, so it's a bit more harder for me, and that's okay. Inhale here, and then exhale, plant that right foot, remove the blocks, hands plant, left toes curl under, and then find your downward dog. Walk it out. Inhale through the nose, side out through the mouth. Bending the knees, looking forward, and bringing those left toes towards the front of the mat. Dropping that right knee down, uncurling those toes. Maybe you use your blocks again. And, oh, sorry, I missed something. Inhale, arms come towards the ceiling. Maybe the gaze follows. And then exhale, hands come down to the blocks or the mat. And then straighten out that front leg, and maybe those left toes come towards the ceiling. Feels so good. Nice, beautiful, long, deep stretches. Not holding that breath. Inhaling deeply and exhaling fully. Planting that left foot, removing those blocks. Hands come onto the mat, back to our tabletop. And we are just going to swing the feet forward and extend the legs long. Actually, keep the knees bent and come onto our back. So from here, the arms can be down beside us. And we're going to inhale, lift that right foot towards the ceiling, like you're pressing the foot into the ceiling. And then we're going to cross that right ankle over that left knee. So creating a figure 4 here. And maybe you just stay here, and that's beautiful and perfectly fine. Or maybe you bring those hands behind that left leg and hug the shape in towards your body. Coming into our half pigeon on our back. And maybe use that right elbow to gently press that right knee away from the body. And if you want to deepen this stretch, something you might want to explore is bringing those hands to the outside of that left shin and pressing that left knee or left heel in towards the bum. Just a little bit deeper of a stretch and different. So just explore what feels good for you. Maybe you keep that left leg long, or maybe you keep it on the mat. Whatever feels good. And then we're going to inhale, bring that right knee foot towards the ceiling, and then just drop that heel down. And then open up the legs, the width of the mat, the feet, and windshield wiper that. Letting all of that go. That feels so good. Letting all of that go. And then coming back to center and toe heeling the feet back together. Arms can be down beside you. And we're going to inhale, lift that left leg long. Flexing that foot like you're stepping on the ceiling. And then crossing that left ankle over that right knee. And choosing if you stay here. Or maybe you interlace the hands behind that right leg. Maybe you choose that variation with bringing the hands around the shin. And just explore, how does this hip feel different from the other hip? And it's okay. Our bodies do so much for us every single day. And it's so important for us to honor them and listen to them so we don't hurt ourselves. And gently coming out of that, lifting that left foot towards the ceiling and stepping the sole of the foot back onto the mat. Opening the feet hip width distance apart, or the mat width distance apart. And again, just windshield wiping that. Letting all of that go. Feeling the release in the hips. Awesome. Then coming back to center, toe heeling the feet about hip width distance in, and the arms can be down alongside us. And we're gonna come into our bridge. So for me, like I said, being 18 weeks pregnant, I still feel really good. And everybody's different, whether you're pregnant or not. So for me, I can press into my feet and press into my upper back as I float the hips towards the ceiling. But if this doesn't feel good for you, don't do it. And maybe you slide a block or a pillow or a blanket under those hips. So the chest is pulling or pressing up towards the ceiling, but we don't want to crunch that chin in towards the chest. So we want to keep that neck long right behind here. So we're looking up towards the ceiling, choosing to use a block or a pillow or maybe nothing. Feeling the strength in our legs. Inhaling. And exhale, release the hips to the mat, so gently. Hug the knees into the chest, giving yourself that hug. And then opening up the arms like a T or like cactus arms, dropping both knees over towards the right, and maybe you look towards the left. Maybe placing that right hand on that left knee. And noticing how this feels different from the very beginning, from when you first came here. Do you feel like you've let something go? I hope you do. And then inhale those knees back to center and dropping both knees over towards the left, and maybe you look towards the right, placing that left hand on that right knee. Again, noticing, how do you feel from the beginning to the end? This awesome gentle flow that you created. Inhaling the knees back to center, dropping the feet onto the mat, and maybe you bring one hand on your belly, one hand back to your heart space are on the other hand. And maybe the feet are together at prayer and you drop the knees out towards the edges of the mat. And for any of my pregnant mommies, maybe you give your baby a little massage. Or maybe you just come to stillness. And you can stay here as long as you want to, as long as you need to. Maybe the eyes are closed, or maybe there's a soft gaze. As you enter your final resting pose of Shavasana. You can stay here for as long as you want. I'm going to end with a reading from one of my favorite books, Journey to the Heart by Melody Beattie. You're right where you need to be, on your path, guided in just the right place for you today. Many times on my journey, I stopped short, convinced I would never find the place I was trying to find, only to discover that it was right in front of me all the time. I had gone there instinctively, gone right where I needed to go, right where I was heading. There's a part of us that knows where we need to be and understands where we really want to go. There's a place in us that has the map, even if our eyes and mind can't see it, can't figure it out, or aren't certain it's there. If you're spinning in circles, feeling lost and confused, trying to figure out where you need to be, and not all that certain where you're going, just stop, breathe deeply, and look around. Staying in your Shavasana as long as you desire. And whisper, Namaste.